Welcome to the Wild and Free with Anna Love podcast. I am your host, Anna Love. Wild and Free was born to inspire women to release old patterns that have kept them from living their best life. As a subconscious freedom specialist, I strive to reprogram and reframe generational trauma, not only in myself and the lives of my 3 daughters, but for those who are ready to transform anxiety, fear, and shame into authenticity, freedom, and love. Whether you are 20 years old or 70 years young, buckle up for raw and honest explorations in doing the work necessary so that you may shine your brightest light from your heart and onto the lives of others. Welcome to Wild and Free with Anna Love podcast. I am here with my beautiful new friend, Vivian Raquel Diane. So, wanted to bring you on because we met a couple weeks ago at a retreat, and your energy and your vibrancy and your mission, I want to talk about that. It felt very in alignment with what I'm doing right now. And I am looking to bring on amazing women onto this podcast to show other women how we are serving other women in the world. And I'd love for you to just let us know, first and foremost, what is it that you do? How do you bring your gifts to the world? And who are your clients?
Yes. Oh my gosh, Anna, thank you so much for having me here. This is like a manifestation come true. So thank you. Just settling in here for a minute, integrating that question because it's such a powerful one. So I am a manifestation coach. And when I was 12 years old, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. Long story short, we stumbled upon a LOL, a little old lady, and she taught me everything I know, or at least everything I did know about manifestation at the time. A lot of the old rhetoric, but it worked. Within 3 months, I had no inflammation in the body and I was on no medication. And to this day, no signs of the Crohn's. It's dormant. Thank goodness.
Wow.
So that made me obsessed with manifestation. And I share that story because part of your question was, how are you servicing other women? And it's a ripple effect, right? This woman taught me manifestation. When I healed my Crohn's, I became obsessed. I read every single book I could get my hands on at Barnes& and Noble around manifestation, which was like half a shelf in the New Age section. It didn't even have it wasn't
What
part of the
year?
self-help back then.
What year was this?
And then from
year?
there, oh, what year?
Yeah. That's
This
okay.
must have been like 2008. Yeah,
Okay.
a long time ago.
And can I ask a question, just since you just passed over it? When you say that she taught me manifestation at age 12 and it changed your life, I have to go down deeper. What did she teach you that was so compelling that it shifted Crohn?
Such a good question. So when I was diagnosed with Crohn's, I really didn't want it to be my story. I always, I come from a Jewish background, and when I was younger, just learning about the Holocaust, it really scared me. And I remember the teachers going over the Holocaust in school, and I just had these crazy visions of like how, if God forbid the Holocaust were to ever happen again, I would outrun the Nazis. Like, and my little kid brain would say, like, what do you mean? Like, I would just run and not look back. And I would come up with ways of how I would survive.
Yeah.
And like, I'm a Sephardic Jew, so like, not, thank goodness, like nobody in my immediate family has anybody who passed away from the Holocaust. My great grandfather did, but for the most part. But like, I would come up with these crazy scenarios. Like, I would just lie and say I'm not Jewish or whatever it was. And so when I was diagnosed with the Crohn's disease, it triggered something in me. I'm like, no, I'm just going to lie. Like, and I remember sitting in there, they took me in a private room away from my parents, and the doctor listed off a bunch of symptoms. And I'm like, no, I denied them all, even though I was feeling most of them. And when this manifestation coach came into my life, the first question she asked me was, well, aside from the doctor said, do you believe you have Crohn's disease? And I was like, no, because I was in denial. Like, I was like, this is not going to be my story. I had this inner will, not going to be my story. And she goes, okay, because the first thing about manifestation is our beliefs turn into our reality. Okay. So if you don't believe you have Crohn's disease, why are you taking the medication?
Yes. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. And she goes like, how do you feel about spitting it out in the toilet? Right. And she was a coach. Like, I don't think any coach would tell a 12-year-old this now. But she said, how do you feel about that? I was like, okay. And I remember going into the kitchen cabinet right above the house phone,
Wow.
taking the medicine and just spitting it out into the toilet until like I realized nobody was actually realizing and stopped taking it all together. And that's another story.
Wow.
But yeah, that was the beginning of it all. Like, start acting like you don't. But like
Right.
also every single disease comes from stress. It's dis-ease in the body, which she explained to me. And so we had to move a lot of the anger and a lot of the stress that I suppressed as a child. I know
Right.
12-year-old is a child, but really like from 6-year-old under. So I became obsessed. I After this, I read every book on manifestation, then Kabbalah, then on before there was really quantum physics, it was just physics. Like I remember reading Seeing the World Through the Rear View Mirror, something like that. But anyway, reading anything I could get my hands on, and it became a hobby.
Wow. What a gift.
It was a gift. So, like I say, like all the time looking back, your biggest turbulences in life are going to end up being your biggest gift. They're part of your purpose. The solution's always created before the problem just getting you to where you're meant to be. If I didn't have the Crohn's disease, I would
Right.
never have become a manifestation coach.
Right. Do you go back and is that woman around? Have you spoken to her about what you're doing now?
I haven't spoken to her about what I'm doing now, but I ended up working with her for like all throughout high school. It wasn't until after high school that like I went to college. Funny enough, my college had manifestation classes. Like it's so funny. What college has that? I went to the new school in New York City. What college has that? And it's really like I always laugh how the universe is constantly specifically curating a
Yes.
life for you that's meant for you and your biggest
Ah,
purpose and mission.
that's so beautiful. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for pausing the intro of your story to go down.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really important question.
So who do you help now and how do you help them? How do you serve?
Yeah. I help women who know they're meant for more, who are stuck,
Mhm.
where something is stopping, blocking, or slowing them down from living their inner purpose. Somebody who's looking for more. They're no longer on the blue pill, referencing the Matrix. They woke up and they're like, okay, I understand that life doesn't need to be like this. I'm not the victim of life. Life's not happening to me. I understand that there's something more for me out there. I need guidance because I don't know how to get there because I'm scared because my partner is sticking me in this box that I want to break out of.
Yeah.
Um, or they are manifesting their partner, but they don't really know. They can't list off on their hands 8 healthy relationships in their immediate life, right?
Yeah.
And we manifest based off what we know and what we see and what we experience. So
Mhm.
I really help anybody who's ready to break through the
Mm.
matrix and get to their next level of life.
Break through the matrix. And so this podcast is called Wild and Free. Would you equate breaking through the matrix to anything about the words wild or freedom?
Oh yeah, I would. Both words. So manifesting your next level of life is a journey of liberation. It's a journey of freedom. And as we move towards the things we want in life, we peel back the layers, which is something we discussed on my show yesterday.
Mhm.
So if you're listening, go hear that. I think it's going to be out in 2 weeks, but or the end of May. So you peel back the layers. And as you peel back the layers, yes, gunk and stuff and things from the past are going to show up. But in facing them and no longer being attached to the fear of them that's been holding you back, slowing you down, stopping and blocking you, you actually detach from them and become free of them. And they're no longer holding you back. So you rocket ship into that next layer of life because there's nothing holding you back.
Yeah,
And then yeah, yeah,
you leap so far is what
you
I was
leap
saying. Like
so far. You
quantum
boomerang.
leap. Yeah. You pull back those layers and then it is like a rocket ship. And when you were realizing that about yourself, what layers did you have to peel back? Were there any other layers outside of the Crohn's? Were there any like what were the things you had to drop in order?
Yeah. So as a 12-year-old, you're like, how much stress can a 12-year-old have? But there was okay, great question. So I was born blind. So for the first 5 years of my life, I couldn't see. So there was a lot there because for the first 5 years of my life, my parents thought I was a special needs kid or like slower in learning because the teacher would show me an X, I'd be like, I don't know, AZ. And yeah, on the other hand, I was skiing blue, green, and black diamond on the mountains and not bumping into anything. So when the school nurse would tell my parents, like, listen, your daughter can't see, my mother thought the school nurse was stupid, an idiot. She was like, what do you mean? Like, she's not bumping into anything. And so she'd disregard her. It wasn't until I was diagnosed with Lyme disease at 5 that the doctor was like, listen, your daughter actually is losing her eyesight. She's legally blind in her left eye, and the cells in her right eye are dying. So I had to get surgery. And all throughout these years, the 5 first fundamental years of my life,
Yeah.
even though I wasn't consciously aware of the low T trauma, or big T for some people, right? Being blind, going through surgery, being like called stupid, or showing
Yeah.
up to school with an eye patch on my eye, being called pirate, and all these different things, and the relationships that we build as little kids in pre-nursery, nursery, and kindergarten, it took an effect on me. And so there were these some subconscious beliefs and pains and shames that I was carrying into my everyday life that I didn't even know about. I was unaware of. And
Mhm.
so with the manifestation coach, we were able to dive deep into that and reprogram that.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. And oh my gosh, you touched on so many things just about self-esteem and how it's created, self-worth and identity. Do you want to speak to any of those terms for
Oh
you?
my gosh. I love the term identity because it's so much fun. When
Yeah.
we're little kids, I always say, like, we'll play dress up, Sims or Barbie, whatever is your thing. And as little kids, we're very easily able to be like, okay, I'm done being the doctor. I'm going to go be the princess. Or I'm done being the princess. I'm going to go be the astronaut, whatever it is. And we're okay with that. But as we grow up, we kind of stick to this one identity and we forget that we get to play with life and choose different identities. So, like, we'll be the mother, and then all of a sudden, that's all we could be. We're like, oh, I can't do that because I'm a mom, right?
Mhm.
I can't just go do that because I'm a mom, or I can't just do that because I am a doctor, right? I am a doctor. And all of a sudden, our identity becomes our excuse. And we forget that we're these multidimensional beings with so many different layers, and that we get to play with the different parts of who we are. We're human beings. We're not human doings. We're not meant to just be doing one thing and going with that for the rest of our life. We're meant to be
Right.
all the different parts of ourselves.
Gosh.
And so when it comes to manifesting, it's really leaning in, okay, I am somebody who dealt with Crohn's disease, but today I am a survivor. And today I am an inspiration. And today I get to expand other people into what's possible for them and unstuck themselves out of the gunk
That's
and get
right.
them into the freedom and take that back.
Oh, I love what you do for just humankind and humanity and women. Do you only work with women?
No. So I do have men one-on-one clients. I do have men in my groups, and I help men a lot with business and relationships. So one program that I have is called How to Do Business with the Universe. And I have men who are CEOs, CFOs in my private coaching container for business because we're really working through the layers, peeling back the subconscious mind in order to have the confidence, prepare the nervous system to receive.
Mhm.
And these people are like billionaires. So,
Wow.
yeah, I'm working with high level men, but those men are not coming on my retreats. They're only women. I only know co ed retreats.
Yeah.
Events are geared towards women, but I have had men in my events, at my events.
It's beautiful. We're all in cages. And when you were just talking about identity and how women, like, or anyone for that matter, choose to be a certain role, whether it's mom or CFO or whatever it is, that's where we start to lose that freedom. And that's where we lose that sense of being wild. And, I feel that this like inhibition is really where it's at, and this inhibition, when we can shift what that means and we can lean into the things that we believe, like if I'm a mom, then that means I can't be sexual, or if I'm a mom, then I can't go over here and go out on a Friday night with my best friends. It means that I'm not such a good mom anymore. Then if we pattern that, we literally start to pattern it, and it replicates things that we might have been modeled or had modeled to us as a kid. And it really, like, what would you say your age span of clients are, from like 20s on up, or is it even younger?
So I won't work with anybody under the age of 18. So, but my clients range from the age of 26
Mhm.
to 66.
Yeah. And isn't it fascinating how do you notice that the same patterns are prevalent in the 66-year-old that are from the 26-year-old.
That is so true. And I love that observation. Yes.
It's just crazy. I've had the same experience, and it's just freedom or lack of freedom is the same thing, whether it's male, female, non-binary, whether it's 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And that's why the work that you're doing is so important, because
Thank you.
yeah, we want a world where we're able to be fully expressed. And because when we're fully expressed, we're able to communicate and we're able to collaborate and we're able to love in a different way than when we are caged in and boxed in and closed in.
And one thing I really want to highlight too is that there's so much freedom in healing, right? When we heal, we literally rewrite our story so that our past is no longer holding us back and we're not repeating the patterns into the future. However, we are not meant to be, we were not put on this earth just to heal, right? The point of living is not to
Yeah,
heal. We're
thriving.
only healing so that we could go on living, right? And I
Oh
just want
my
to highlight that.
gosh. Oh my gosh. That's a huge one. I was just thinking of my boyfriend's tattoo. It has something like, I can't remember it, but I'll get back to you personally on that. But it's exactly what you're saying. I just can't think of what it says, but it's exactly that. Like, what are we even doing? So, okay. We've talked about manifesting. What other tools do you implement or have you found on your journey? Like visualizing maybe, or are there any other modalities that you incorporate into what that you do for yourself or another?
Such a great question. So, my manifestation practice and the way that I teach it is infused with different modalities, such as quantum healing, such as EFT, the emotional freedom technique, tapping. That's huge. Okay. Huge. My eye doctor always jokes with me. She's like, Vivian, you're the only human being that I know where your eyesight gets better every single year. And she's like, what is this? Like, tell me what you're doing. And now she follows Journey with VRD Instagram. And like, she's always kind of, because like, she just doesn't understand. She's like, we need to like study you and study what you're doing because
I love
it's
that.
huge. It's huge. Yeah. So EFT tapping is huge, quantum visualizing, but the way I visualize with my clients is never let's look at something in the future. Visualize yourself with something in the future, because what most manifestation coaches do, or people trying it at home on their own, is they'll visualize themselves with the thing that they're now wanting in the future. Like in the future, I'll have it. But the problem with that is that if you're always visualizing yourself having something in the future, that's where it's going to stay. And because you're always going to be in the now, you
Yeah,
are never going to align with your future self. And therefore,
right,
you're never going to manifest the thing that you're putting into the future.
right.
So it's really about embodying it and merging with that future self now.
Now, I absolutely have learned that as well. So I'm glad that you said that, because that is a big thing. And there are a lot of people out there, I started very basic, reading The Secret and thinking about vision boards and all this other stuff. But when you really want to dive deeper, which you have done, obviously, it really is about the embodiment and being it before you see it, right? And really turning up the submodalities, like all the senses, and really feeling it. Like you have to be it today and live it and almost like vibrate it, and then put it out into the future, and then the universe goes, okay, I feel you, right?
Yeah, because the thing is, everything already exists and everything is an energy before it turns into matter, before it shifts into matter. You have to remember that nothing could be created or destroyed. Number one scientific basic principle.
Right.
And so, if nothing can be created or destroyed, you could be like, well, what do you mean? The iPhone didn't always exist, or, the computer, whatever it is. And the thing is, no, every single thing that you could possibly imagine already exists.
Yes.
And this is where we talk about the quantum field and the fifth dimension, where every single possibility exists. So, how I teach my clients to manifest, how I'm getting results is we're actually merging instead of just being it today in order to have it tomorrow. No, you're being it today and having it today by merging with the version of self who already has it, using your highest self as a guide to give you the answers that you're now seeking, and creating such a potent and profound gratitude practice every single morning for 20 minutes, where we're not just being grateful and listing things down, we're being the gratitude. So if
Yeah.
you're calling in money, being grateful for every single dollar you had, feeling it on an energetic level, feeling your arms like almost have electricity coming through your fingertips because you feel that. you feel that you're connecting with it. So it's a totally different type of gratitude practice. And it is very much about what you said. It's embodiment. It's feeling it on a cellular and molecular level, coding yourself with the energy that you're calling in.
Oh my God. I love knowing you. You are so amazing. I'm reading this book right now that just touched on something you said, and I wonder if you've read it before, because this just came across my, I'll hold it up here if we can
Oh,
see it.
that's just,
Accessing your super consciousness.
who writes it? Who's the author?
R.J. Spina,
No,
Spina.
I have not read that.
You probably already know everything in this book, but it is very much about that things are not on dimensions, but it's frequencies. And so I have very small knowledge base about what goes on in all the different dimensions, but this book is like really supercharging what I understand. And it really does come down to what we know, and I know this, it is about love, and it is about being self-actualized, and our higher self will take us where we need to go as long as we stay in that frequency of love. But really, that everything already does exist. Everything you just said is already happening, but they're calling it frequencies. So there's a little distinction. So I'm so happy to get into this, and you're just such a wealth of knowledge. I'm so happy to talk about this. So, what message or truth would you want our listeners to know? Something that you feel like if you could impart them one piece of, if you could just give them one, what would it be?
Okay, I'm going to give them two because they connect. The first is, and this could be really triggering to people,
Hmm.
but life doesn't have to be hard.
No,
Whatever you're going through right now that feels hard, it gets to be easy. It gets to be done with flow, ease, and grace.
gets to be. I
It
love
gets to be. And it's a choice every single day. It's how you're showing up for it. And it's coming back to that gratitude. One day this was something you prayed for, right? And if you're going through something really challenging that you never prayed for, let's replace the word hard with challenging. Because when we
that.
call something hard, it's giving up. It's saying, this is so hard. I want to step back. I want to dissociate. I don't want to be a part of this. When we call something a challenge, we're taking it on. We're like, yeah, that's a challenge, but I am able to do that. I am capable of riding this hill. I'm a resilient motherfucker, right? I'm a resilient boss,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And the second is, sorry,
No, it's all about language.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I just thought you were saying my language. I was like, first, okay.
No. Oh, God, no. Fuck no. Fuck no.
Okay, okay, okay. And the second thing I really want to emphasize is what one day I was hysterical crying because I thought the world was coming to an end. I had something happen and I was like, I hate, like, how is this happening? And I was hysterical crying. And this coworker of mine at the time came up to me and he's like, well, what's going on? And I was in such shame and such pain, I couldn't really share it with him. And he says, I just want you to know one thing. And I stuck with this for the rest of my life. And he gets credit for this. Greg Fioravanti, if anybody's listening to this, he gets complete credit because it's changed my whole life, the whole trajectory of my life. And it's Viv, it's just not that serious. It's
Mm.
not that serious. At the end of the day, everything that's happening in our world is the medicine that we need in order to get to our purpose in life, in order to get to that next layer. Like I said earlier, the solution's always created to the problem. And when we can break out of the matrix, right? When we like break the illusion that like this is it, this is the hardest thing, this is life happening to me, and we can move past that and be like, it's not that serious. And you can literally break the illusion by doing one thing. Just start cracking up, just start laughing. And you realize, like, holy shit, I am the creator of this experience that I'm happening. Yeah, that might be happening for them, but I don't have to take it so seriously. This is not my experience. I'm unsubscribing to this. This
Right.
is not my reality.
I'm not choosing this. So, but what do you do? Like, I love that you said laughing, because that's what we call in NLP a pattern interrupt. Like when you can get somebody to shift what they're doing, right? Like their bad mood, and then all of a sudden you get them laughing, you've just pattern interrupted. Okay. Now I have three teenagers, and I feel like I know a lot of things, and I've lived a very challenging life, but I've come out like finally starting to wake up and really see what the truth is of what's going on. But when I raised them at a very young age, I wasn't this person that I am now. And so there are a lot of patterns that they have. And of course, they live with their dad also, and their dad may or may not practice certain things, right? This open mindedness and
Mhm.
whatnot. But what would you say to clients or people that you meet, or even my daughters, when
you feel like you're just like, just choose, right? Like, this is your choice and you can be happy. And it actually isn't hard. It's this and that. It can be so easy. What do you say to people who are very resistant to that?
This is what I'm going to say. Although you weren't the person that you are today when you were bringing up your children when they were younger, the work that you're doing now to heal, it recodes the past. It heals past generations and future generations. And as you do the work, it's going to shine a light, and your kids are going to notice, and your ex-husband will notice in either the way that, because this is a misconception. We think that like we're only connecting with people when we see them or when we're texting them, but that's so not true. The energy we could connect with at any time. There's telepathy that people are doing across the world.
Right.
Um, so you have to remember that. And as you do the work right now, you're healing the past as well as the future. And your kids are going to feel that. They're going to be inspired by that. I had a client who was literally just telling me, like, Vivian, I want to manifest a trip to Italy, but my husband, he's so scared to spend a single penny. The other thing she said is, my lease is up on my car and he wants to get me a Honda, and I really want a Jeep. I don't want a Honda, but he's the one getting it for me. And she's doing this work, and all of a sudden she gets an email, your seat has been upgraded. And she clicks on it and she's like, what? He surprised me with a trip to Rome? What the actual, Vivian, what is this? What am I, I'm all, like, what is it? Then she gets a call from her husband and she's like, listen, babe, the price for the Jeep is the same price as the Honda. Which one do you want? Or the Honda? And she's like, oh my gosh. And when we look back to see what she did to get there, is she had to embody the work. She had to, her whole thing is that she didn't want to pay for anything. She wanted her husband to. And I said, everybody in your world is a mirror of what's going on inside of you. When we don't like something happening in our outside world, we don't try to change and control something in our outside world. We have to come internally and shift something internally. And when we make that internal shift, our outside world that we're experiencing with all our senses shifts, because everything outside of us is just a mirror of what's going on internally.
Beautiful. I love that.
And so if somebody's resisting, first of all, what you resist persists. So good luck to them. And on the second hand, then shift the part of you that's resisting their resistance.
So
Right?
what do you mean for people who have never heard this before? Like, what would she have? Can you just like give me an example of what that would look like? What would she have to shift inside of her?
The person who's resisting,
Yes.
or the person who's resisting the person that's resisting. So let's say somebody's resisting doing the work. We have to come to the why. Is there something there that feels too scary to look at in the face? Because a lot of this work is taking responsibility, right? And a lot of people don't want to take responsibility. A lot of people want to blame, right? And so we have to talk to that person and see, all right, well, what's actually going on? What are you dissociating from? What are you hiding from? What masks do you have on and why?
Yeah. That's like, if you like mic drop right there. That's such a huge thing. And most people don't even know. Like, then I was one of those people, right? When I first started, I had so much resistance. I had so much anger, so much victimhood, so much they did this to me and they're stopping me and the world is stopping me. And when I went within, I realized, no, bitch, you're stopping you.
Yeah. We're always the ones getting in the way. And even like when we think about like why we're upset, why we're crying, whatever, even when we're happy, right? We always look for somebody to blame. Why am I happy right now? Always putting meaning to a feeling. And when we put a meaning to a feeling, we're creating a story around it, and then we're looking to blame somebody. And so the first step into repatterning that is not putting a meaning to the feeling, claiming your story, rewriting your story the way you want it to be, and no longer putting meanings to feelings, right?
Vivian, that is the thing right there. If everyone can understand that I feel like what you just said is another mic drop. When you, it's just so big though. The day that I understood that, and it took me, I remember working with my coach and he was like, you better buckle in. He's like, you better carve out 3 hours because we're doing this shit. And I was like, doing what shit? And he's like, we're gonna do this shit until you fucking get it. And it was that exact thing. It was, let's look at what you made your entire life mean. And when I got it, it did take a bit. It took about 90 minutes for him repeating the same fucking thing over and over. And I was like, wait a second. So I'm the one who fucking created all this from the past. And once I got it, it took me like 3 days and I was just in this like, oh my God. So then this doesn't mean this anymore. It means, it could mean anything and it doesn't have to mean anything.
Yes.
And I was free. I
Yep.
was free. Ooh, ooh, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, ooh. I love this. This has been
Yeah.
such a beautiful conversation. I really appreciate you being on here, and our listeners are gonna get so much value from this.
Yay.
Is there anything before we take a close here that you didn't go over that you think is pretty important for us to go over?
I guess all I really want to say for the listener to know is that you can absolutely live the life of your dreams. You can absolutely have it all. And the number one myth in manifestation is that you could only manifest one thing at a time. Make a list of a million things, because of the more things that you want to accomplish in life, the more things that you want to manifest in life, the more successful you're going to be.
Oh my
You can
God.
absolutely have it all.
Yeah, you can absolutely have it all. Will you write a book with that title? That's right. Why stop at one thing
Yeah.
when the sky is the limit? So let's not put a limit or a glass ceiling on what we are capable of or what we desire.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. Thank you so
Th-
much for having me on, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you. This has been such a treat on this Friday morning in May. And yeah, we'll close here. And mwah, thank you. And I love you.
Thank you, Anna. I hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Ready to take the next step in designing a life you love? The Life Design Blueprint membership is your all access pass to exclusive tools, live guidance, and transformational support to help you move from self doubt to self worth. Building on the principles from the Design a Life That Lights You Up ebook, this membership is a deeper dive into creating a life that aligns with who you truly are. You will go beyond surface level self help with hypnotic techniques and live discussions that create real lasting change in your mindset and life. You will receive ongoing support from me and connect with a community of like minded women on a similar journey. Each week, I deliver an empowering hypnosis which offers a unique way of working with your subconscious to reframe limiting beliefs, elevate self worth, and reinforce positive habits. All of our sessions will be recorded and added to our on demand library for easy access to members. Join me by clicking the link below, and I'll see you on the inside. Well, thank you so much for tuning into Wild and Free with Anna Love and being a part of this magical journey with me. If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe and share with someone you love, even someone you just like. Bonus points if you leave a review. Show notes below gives you everything that you'll need to know, and I'll see you next time. So long for now.